They owned the retail stores in the black community, and they were insurance guys, and they were doing things because Carl Stokes was the mayor. You had black people like Madison building tall buildings. I said, wait a minute. This is this way you can do good and make money. So it was really Cleveland, Ohio that gave me the vision and the encouragement to take a risk. And that's what I did.
Now, was it challenging? And here's what I'm talking about. We've heard the stories about Barry Gordy's sister or somebody lending him $500. You were a social worker. How did you get that seed money?
Well, in those days, in 1970, when we started on this McDonald's trip, there were three of us. One guy from Detroit, me from Flint, and a guy from Cleveland. And in those days, Mildred, you need $25,000 collectively. Three of us had to have $25,000. Now, I'm a student at Ohio State University. And this is why I know that God will always show up and show out. This is God's truth, Mildred. Now, I'm a student trying to get a PhD. So I ain't got no $8,000. So I go to a Alpha fraternity meeting on a Sunday at the Ohio State Union at 4 o'clock. And I say to one of the guys, I said, man, if I had $10,000, I could buy into a McDonald's. So he said, you have any student loans? I said, no, I'm on a fellowship. He said, talk to Brother John Hall. Mildred, that was on Sunday. On Tuesday at 10:30 a.m., I went to the financial aid office and picked up a check for $10,000. Now, I must tell you, if I was in my Flint days, I'd have taken that $10,000 and bought me a Cadillac. But because God had touched me, I took that $10,000 and invested in my very, very first McDonald's over at 5851 West Warren, right there near West Warren and Epworth. That's where it all started for me.
There's so much good stuff in this book, so I want to jump into some of it. And I kind of get the feeling we're going to have to do a part 1 and part 2, okay?
I'm ready.
I'll track you down if I have to. In here, in the third principle about finance, you write, ignore old school advice that's preventing you from experiencing a new school paradigm. Only a few years ago, black folks would say, don't you quit that good job and go into no business. Similarly, young people who had just graduated from college and were starting their career would hear, why don't you get a steady job? That's what you went to school for, and for God's sake, don't quit and go chasing some foolish pipe dream.
Yeah, unfortunately, that was our grandmothers and our mothers and fathers and great-grandmothers giving their greatly advice at that moment in their lives. But in today's economy, I can guarantee you, if you graduate in 2017 with a degree in anything, chances are you will have 5 different jobs with 5 different companies if you're lucky enough to retire. So I would strongly urge anyone, you must understand the new economy. I mean, oftentimes I will ask students, what is the largest taxi cab company in the world? And they will say Uber. I say, you're correct. Now, how many taxi cabs do they own? None. This is the new economy. This is the new way of doing things. And the traditional jobs that were in Flint and Detroit, with General Motors, Ford, Chrysler, those days are just about over. And you have to begin to look at the new opportunities that exist. For an example, I was the commencement speaker, I'm bragging now, up at Mott College in Flint where I went to school. And I asked the guy about, what about the trades, skilled trades? He said, Bill, if a young man or a young lady comes here at Mott College for 2 years, they could get an associate degree in welding, and they will make $100,000 a year when they walk out of here. Welding, plumbing, carpentry, coding, IT, the internet, that's the future. Now, it doesn't mean we won't have these basic jobs that we've always had, but there's a new technology evolution, and we must get a part of it. And you don't always have to have a good job to live a great life in America today. You can have a great opportunity, and that opportunity might be you having what my grandfather called it, two-arm living. You have a job, but you have something on the side that you're working on, and hopefully and prayerfully one day that hustle that you got can become your main thing.
I love this one. I love this one. Black folks aren't broke, but traditionally some of us have made bad choices. I'd like to remind you once again that wealthy people teach their children to acquire, middle-income people teach their children to sell, and poor people teach their children to consume. It's time to break this cycle. Be the role model, the family member who is successful in securing seed capital for one initial venture and then continues to build upon it for the rest of his or her life. That's powerful, and it's so accurate.
You know, Mildred, in our community, I hate to use this statistic, but in our community, the average family watches 62 hours of television a week. 62 hours of television, and you're sitting there with all these suggestions things, buy this, new hair, new shoes, new sneakers, and you're looking at Atlanta Housewives, and they're giving you all these little messages about go out and buy stuff that you don't need and you can't afford, and you really don't want it after 2 weeks. We must break that syndrome. We must. But you said something that I think is critical. When one person makes it out, he or she can become the catalyst that if Ray Ray did it, if Bill Pickard did it, if Sarah did it, if Gigi did it, I can do it. And that's why it's so important. And we can just get one person in the family through this cycle of education and entrepreneurial opportunities. It is contagious because our nieces and our nephews and our sons and our daughters are watching us. It's not so much what we say, it's what we do.
Dr. William Pickard, my guest, and we're discussing his new book, Millionaire Moves, 7 Proven Principles of Entrepreneurship. If you have a question or a comment, give him a call here at 568-1200. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome to WCHB's Community Calendar. When confronting mental illness, loss, or major illness, or major life change, UAW Region 1A invites you to its Cancer Support Group informational meeting, June 3rd from 10 a.m. till noon at 9650 South Telegraph Road. For more information, call 313-291-2750. Join the Mildred Gaddis Show's June book review with Brothers Also Read. The June 5th book is Even Easier.